So therapy can help with PTSD in the sense that we start off by working with the person to help them understand the process that their body is going through. So on a physical level, how you process the trauma and how you're working with the difficulties that you're having, how your body is trying to make sense of it. In a way, your body is trying to reprocess the trauma and the memory in order to be able to file it away, which it couldn't do while you were experiencing the trauma, hence the representing of the information in the form of the flashbacks and the dreams and the intrusive thoughts and memories, simply for your brain to be able to cognitively make sense of this and file it and store it away. So in that sense, we help you understand what it is that your brain is doing, what it is that your body is doing, and why you're experiencing the things that you're experiencing. So it's called psychoeducation, this process of making sense of what's going on. We then start to look at and examine the ways in which this is manifesting in your personal life, in your behavior, in your work relationships, in your personal relationships, how you're going about your daily business, and how this is impacting on you, and what we can do to try and sort of rebalance some of the difficulties that you've experienced. That involves a process of starting to look at the very nature and all of the details of the trauma that has been experienced. It's called trauma narration, and we go through a process of step-by-step working through all of the story of what happened in the traumatic incident that you experienced. It's done in a very contained, very safe space, at a rhythm and a pace that is comfortable and in a way that makes sense, so that it's contained and held, and you're contained and held as a client in being able to work your way gradually through all of these traumatic memories. The doing of that and the facing of that is the very counterintuitive aspect to the avoidance that generally you would have been practicing, because the avoidance is designed to protect from these feelings. And in fact, in therapy, we're starting to say, well, let's look at these feelings, the emotional traumas that they're bringing up, and let's make sense of them together. And it's that process that is incredibly healing and starts to actually alleviate a great deal of the anxiety and the fear of facing these memories. In addition to that, we then look at the emotional regulation aspect of it, bearing in mind that one aspect would have been avoidance, another aspect would have been potentially the use of drugs or alcohol or some other form of addiction that helps to manage the feelings. So then we start to look in a very practical sense at those elements of behavior in your life and start to put in some practical strategies to address them and to start to feel the feelings rather than trying to mask them in some way. And so it is that really that starts to shift and move things forward in terms of depression, anxiety, sleep regulation, starting to look at behavior modification to address this. There's one aspect of therapy that's called trauma-focused cognitive behavior therapy, which is particularly known for working very well with trauma and PTSD. So those are aspects and elements of everything that we use within the therapeutic process. However, in addition to that, we will also use elements of psychoanalysis in terms of understanding your personality, your way of relating to the world, which also made you vulnerable in this situation to the trauma you experienced. So that also acts as building emotional robustness and resilience, taking you forward into life for any other events you experience in the future. And we do that because a lot of the triggers that will be reactivating the trauma that you have experienced, you will find those triggers in everyday life. There'll be an exhaust backfiring on the street. There will be a balloon bursting at a party. There will be loud noises. There will be smells that will take you back to the trauma that you experienced. So working with all of these underlying emotions, sensations, memories is part of what builds and overcomes the trauma that you have experienced and gives you a sense of being more connected, having more hope and optimism in the future and in life. So in that way, it is enormously healing and helpful.